There's a particular kind of stillness in a Japanese home. It's not the cold silence of an empty room, but a warm, intentional peace. It's the feeling that every object has earned its place. Most of us carry a different weight. We live in museums of the people we've lost, the roles we used to play, and the versions of ourselves we aren't ready to let go of yet. But your home shouldn't be a record of your past. It should be a sanctuary for your present. Today, we're exploring 15 things Japanese culture teaches us to release, not out of waste, but out of reverence for the life you're living right now. You've spent decades caring for everything else. In the time we have together today, let's learn how to let your home finally start caring for you. Item 1. Furniture that exists just in case. Walk into most Japanese living spaces and you'll notice something almost immediately. There's no extra chair, not a spare dining chair pushed against the wall, not an armchair in the corner that no one sits in anymore, not a small bench by the door holding things that never quite make it anywhere else. Every piece of furniture in a Japanese home is there because it is used regularly, purposefully, not hopefully. Now, in many of our homes where family was once full and holidays meant a crowded table, we tend to keep furniture for gatherings that have changed shape over time. For people who used to visit more often, for a version of the home that was built for a different season of life. And there is real tenderness in that. There truly is. But here is what the Japanese understand that we sometimes miss. Extra furniture doesn't just take up physical space. It holds emotional weight. Every time we move past that chair, something quiet inside us registers it. Registers what it once meant. Registers the gentle distance between the home we imagined and the one we're actually living in now. The question isn't whether to keep it. The question, the honest, kind one, is simply this: does it serve the life I have today? Item 2. Decorative objects that no longer move you. In Japan, there is a practice called tokonoma, a small, intentional display space in the home where a single object is placed. One scroll, one vase, one carefully chosen thing, and it changes with the seasons. What is displayed in spring is not displayed in winter. The quiet philosophy behind it: when everything is always on display, nothing is truly seen. Most of us have collections spread across shelves and windowsills and side tables. Objects that arrived at different points in our lives, each one meaningful at the time. And somewhere along the way, without our quite noticing, we stopped seeing them. They became background. They became things we dust around. This is not a criticism. It happens to all of us. But there's a gentle question worth sitting with. Look at one decorative object in your home right now, just one, and ask yourself honestly, when did I last truly notice it? When did it last make me feel something? If the answer doesn't come easily, it may simply mean that object has finished its work with you. And that's allowed. Item 3. Stockpiled household products. This one tends to surprise people. Japanese households, even large, busy ones, typically keep just enough of any household product on hand. Just enough soap, just enough of whatever lives under the sink. Not because they can't afford more, not always because of space, though space is part of it, but because of a principle sometimes called chodo-tu, just the right amount. The idea that sufficiency isn't a compromise. It is, in fact, the ideal. The Japanese also have a word, dan-sha-ri, which loosely translates as refuse, tables, and separate. It's the foundation of what we in the West have come to call decluttering, and it begins not with what's already in the home, but with what we allow in the first place. The first act of a lighter home is a more thoughtful front door. When we stockpile, we are often managing a quiet anxiety. protecting against a scarcity that, for most of us, will never come. And there's nothing wrong with being careful, nothing wrong with feeling more comfortable with a little extra. But when the cabinet under the sink has become its own small storage project, bottles pushed to the back, duplicates half empty, products bought in a moment of practicality and never quite used, that isn't comfort anymore. It's noise we stopped hearing. One in, one out. Just enough. It's a small practice. But in a home, small practices have a way of quietly changing everything. Item 4. Clothes that are waiting to fit again. We want to sit with this one gently, because almost every one of us has these clothes. The dress from another decade, the suit that fit once and fit well, the garment folded carefully on a shelf that represents not just a size, but a version of yourself you're not quite ready to say goodbye to. That feeling deserves to be honored, not hurried past. Japanese culture holds a concept called mottainai, often translated as what a waste. And many of us have used a version of that feeling to hold on to things long past the time they were serving us. It feels respectful to keep them. It feels like care. But the deeper meaning of mottainai is actually reverence for the true value of things. And you do not honor a beautiful garment by keeping it folded in the dark, unworn, unseen, as a quiet monument to a body that has simply lived and changed. Bodies change. That is not failure. That is a life fully inhabited. If there is someone, a neighbor, a charity, a stranger whose body that garment would love today, gifting it forward is not letting go of the memory. It is sending something beautiful back out into the world where it can still be of use. Item 5. Duplicate kitchen tools. Japanese kitchens tend to be modest in their tools. A few good knives, one well-loved pan. Things chosen carefully, maintained with attention, used with real familiarity. Most kitchen drawers in the West tell a different story. 3 can openers, an assortment of spatulas, something bought for a recipe made once in 2011. This isn't about minimalism as a style. It's about something more practical and more peaceful than that. The quiet pleasure of reaching into a drawer and finding exactly what you need, without having to search past 6 things you'd forgotten were there. One excellent tool you know deeply is worth more than 8 tools you're always reaching past. We've moved through the physical objects, the furniture, the tools, the things that fill the visible spaces of our homes. Now, we're going to sit with something that asks a little more from us. These next 5 items are where the deeper transformation tends to happen. They're the ones that are harder to name and more tender to touch. Take your time with them. Item 6. Objects kept out of obligation, not love. This may be the most tender item on this entire list, and it asks for the most honesty. There is a category of objects in most of our homes that we do not keep because we love them. We keep them because someone we loved gave them to us. And releasing them, even imagining releasing them, feels like a betrayal of that person, of that relationship, of everything that gift was meant to carry. That feeling is real. Please don't rush past it. In Japan, there is a quiet cultural distinction made between honoring the moment of giving and being permanently obligated to the object given. A gift, once received with an open heart, has completed its journey. The love least lived in the act of giving. The love does not take up permanent residence inside the object, requiring you to maintain it like a small shrine in your home. This is not coldness. It is, perhaps, a gentler kind of love, one that says, I received you fully in that moment. I carry you, not the thing you handed me. You can love someone with your whole heart, someone living, someone gone, and still allow the ceramic figurine, the set of china, the gift that was never quite you, to find a new place in the world. Their love for you was never stored inside the object. It was stored in you, and you carry it perfectly well, with or without the cabinet. Item 7. A room that belongs to no one. Traditional Japanese homes solve the guest room with a quiet elegance. The same room that serves as a sitting room by day becomes a sleeping room at night. A futon brought out from the closet, laid down with care, and returned again in the morning. The room doesn't transform into something else. It simply makes room and then returns to itself. Many of us have an entire room set aside permanently for guests who may visit only a handful of times each year. The rest of the time, it waits. It gathers things. It becomes a soft kind of storage. A room that belongs to no one and serves no daily life. And there's something worth noticing in that. What would it feel like to reclaim that room, not selfishly but honestly, as a space that belongs to you? A reading room, a place for quiet mornings, a room that greets you every day and says simply, "This space is for your life, right now." Guests can be hosted beautifully on a quality fold-out, made up with care and warm linens. They will not feel less loved, and you will have a room that serves you every single day rather than only a few nights a year. Item 8. Achievement displays that have outlasted their joy. Japanese social culture holds a deep and sincere norm of public modesty. To display personal achievements prominently, in a space where guests will see them, carries a subtle awkwardness. Not because accomplishment isn't valued, it deeply is, but because in Japanese thinking, what you've become through your work matters far more than the physical record of it. And this isn't about hiding your life's work, not at all. The years you put in, Kisha, the things you built, the roles you carried, the contributions you made, those are real, and they are yours, and they deserve to be honored. But here's an honest question worth sitting with quietly. Is this display still bringing me joy today, or has it become wallpaper? Because here's what opens up when we gently release the records of chapters that have closed. Physical space, yes, but more than that, creative space. Room for what you're curious about now. The hobby you've been meaning to explore, the corner that could become something new, something entirely of this season of your life rather than a previous one. Your achievements live in who you became in the earning of them. The plaque is just paper and wood. Item 9. Off-season items left accessible. Japanese homes practice seasonal rotation with a quiet, almost reverent intentionality. Winter bedding is stored away when warmth returns. Lightweight summer things disappear as the air changes in autumn. Not just for practicality, but because there is something in Japanese culture that deeply honors being present in the season you are actually in, not all seasons at once. This one, now. There is a subtle but real comfort in a home that reflects the actual world outside its windows. When what you see and use is aligned with the season you're living, something settles. Something in the body relaxes without quite knowing why. Contrast that with the winter coat still hanging by the door in June, the holiday boxes visible in the bedroom corner year-round, the summer things that never quite found their way back to storage. Not wrong. Just a kind of low-grade discord. Quiet enough that we stop noticing it, present enough that we carry it. Even a small seasonal rotation, putting away just the most clearly off-season things, properly and with intention, can shift how a home feels in ways that are difficult to explain, but easy to feel. Item 10. Broken things. Living in someday. Japan gave us Kintsugi. The art of repairing broken pottery with gold, so that the crack becomes part of the object's beauty rather than its shame. The break is not hidden, it is honored. So, the Japanese are not people who discard things at the first sign of damage. They are, in the most beautiful sense, deeply pro-repair. They believe a mended thing can carry more meaning than an untouched one. But there is an important distinction between an object being actively, lovingly repaired and an object sitting broken in a corner, waiting for a someday that keeps quietly receding. The broken lamp, the chair with the cracked leg, the appliance you're certain someone could fix if you ever got around to it. These things exist in a kind of domestic in-between, not in use, not gone, not honored, simply waiting. Kintsugi doesn't ask us to keep broken things indefinitely. It asks us to engage with them honestly, repair it genuinely with a real date in mind, or allow it to leave with gratitude for what it gave. Those are the two paths that honor both the object and your peace. Someday is not a date on the calendar. Item 11. Inherited pieces that no longer belong to your life. This one comes with a particular kind of weight. So let's stay with it gently for a moment. When someone we love passes on, their furniture and belongings often come to live with us. And they don't arrive as furniture, not really. They arrive as them, or at least as the feeling of them, the shape of them, the particular quality of their presence compressed somehow into wood and fabric and the objects they touched every day. And so we place these things in our homes, even when they don't quite fit the room, even when we arrange everything else around them because moving them feels unthinkable. Japanese homes hold a quiet understanding that our culture sometimes finds difficult, that the home is for the living, that objects from the past are welcome, genuinely welcome, when they bring warmth and meaning, and that releasing them when they no longer do is not an act of forgetting. It is an act of continuing to live. You can love someone completely, to carry them with you every single day, and still allow an inherited piece that makes you quietly sad to find a new place with new people where it will be used and seen and cared for again. And if letting go still feels too heavy, take a photograph of it first. Keep that image in a small digital album, on your phone, on a tablet, somewhere easy to find. The memory stays. The story stays, as only the physical weight leaves the room. That photograph becomes your permission slip, a way of saying, I'm not erasing you, I'm just setting you down. Gifting something forward is not erasure. It is the most generous thing an object can do. Continue to matter in another life, in another room. Their love for you was never in the furniture. Item 12. Gifted items that never found a place. Most of us have a drawer somewhere, or a shelf, or a cabinet, that has quietly become a holding place for gifts we received with genuine gratitude, but never quite knew what to do with. The candle in a scent that isn't quite yours. The decorative piece that doesn't match anything. The specialty food item you've been saving for a special occasion that keeps not arriving. You didn't choose these things. They came bearing someone's warmth, someone's thought, someone's wish to make you smile. That matters. That was real. But warmth doesn't require permanent housing. Using something, passing it forward to someone who will genuinely love it, or simply releasing it with a quiet thank you. All three honor the gesture. Only one of them involves things accumulating in a drawer, quietly becoming a record of things you feel too complicated to release. Item 13. Mirrors that unsettle rather than serve. Japanese living spaces use mirrors rarely. And when they do appear, they are placed with deliberate thought, most often in a functional area like a dressing space, where they genuinely serve a purpose. Large, decorative mirrors in living rooms are uncommon. The reasoning is subtle but interesting. In an intimate space, a large mirror doesn't expand the room the way we're often told it will. It creates a kind of visual restlessness. The eye keeps finding itself. The room never quite settles. There is also a quieter, more personal practice in many Japanese homes. Mirrors in the bedroom are often covered at night or positioned so they don't face the bed directly. The belief that the eye, even in half-sleep, should find nothing that reflects it back. For those of us who wake in the night or whose sleep has grown lighter with the years, this is worth a small experiment. A resting room that doesn't watch you back. It's a different kind of quiet. Item 14. Paper without a place to land. Paper may be the single most consistent source of low-level tension in the modern home, and Japanese domestic culture addresses it with a simplicity that is easy to understand but surprisingly rare in practice. Paper has a place. It goes there, or it is dealt with, and it leaves the stack on the counter. The magazines that will definitely get read, the receipts and notes that migrate quietly from surface to surface, never quite belonging anywhere. Each one, on its own, is small, but the mind registers unfinished things. Quietly, continuously, they don't have to shout to be heard. One place for incoming paper, one regular time to sit with it. What doesn't need to stay, doesn't. It sounds simple, because it is. Item 15. A home still arranged for a life that has changed. This last one isn't an object. It's a pattern, and it may be the most honest thing on this entire list. Many of us are living in homes that were arranged lovingly, carefully, with so much intention, for a version of our lives that has since shifted. The large dining table that once seated many, now seating one or two. The room set aside for a hobby that quietly faded. The furniture positioned for a rhythm of daily life that belongs to an earlier chapter. The bedroom still arranged for 2 years after it became a room for one. These arrangements weren't wrong. They were exactly right for that time. But time has a way of moving forward while our homes sometimes stay still. And there can be a particular kind of sorrow in that. A sorrow that lives just below the surface. Walking through rooms that feel like they're holding their breath. Waiting for a life to return that has already transformed into something new. Japanese homes are remarkable for how present tense they feel, not because they erase the past, not because history isn't honored there, but because they make deliberate room for now, for the person living here today, for the light coming through these particular windows, for this quiet morning, in this season, in this life. There is a question worth asking, not as a demand, but as a kind and patient invitation to yourself. If I were arranging this home for the person I am right now, would I do it this way? You don't have to answer today. You may not be ready to answer for a while, but the question has a way of staying with you, softly, in the background of ordinary days. And sometimes that is exactly what a question is supposed to do. The Japanese don't keep less because they feel less. They don't live with open space because they have less history or less love or fewer memories worth honoring. They live this way because somewhere across generations of rebuilding and beginning again, they arrived at a quiet and enduring understanding. The home is not a record of who you were. It is a space for who you are. You don't need to change everything. You don't need to change anything today. But if something in this video found you, if one item made you pause or breathe a little differently or glance across the room with something new and quiet in your eyes? Begin there. Not because your home is wrong, because you deserve to live in a space as peaceful, as present, and as gently alive as you are. Before we go, I'd love to know which of these 15 items is sitting in your own someday pile right now. Write it in the comments below. Just name it. One word, one line, whatever feels right. Because sometimes the very first step toward letting something go is simply being willing to say its name out loud. We're all on this path together.